Hello everybody, and welcome back to Cam Critiques. Throughout the Switch's life, the Mario sports games have consistently been among the most disappointing first-party titles. They've all released with an extremely small amount of content, a frustrating set of modes, characters, maps, and the like that should have been included at launch, set aside for future updates, and an absurd $60 price tag. However, when Mario Strikers Battle League was announced, I was hoping things would be different. Unlike the Switch's other Mario sports titles, this one was developed by Next Level Games, known for their work on previous Mario Strikers titles as well as other classics like the Wii's fantastic Punch-Out game. Their prior game on Switch, Luigi's Mansion 3, was also super polished and by far the most content-rich game in the Luigi's Mansion series. Sadly, it seems like even they succumbed to the curse that has plagued every Mario sports title of recent years. Mario Strikers Battle League is the latest entry in the Mario Strikers series and the first in over 15 years. It's the Mario franchise's take on soccer, though it's accompanied by a semi-raunchy tone that's very uncharacteristic of the franchise. It pits teams of 4 Mario characters against each other in a soccer game with no rules. You can carry the ball, you can tackle your opponents. You just have to get the ball in the enemy team's goal. The core gameplay here is just as great as ever. Controlling any character on the field is simple, though there's a lot of depth. You can pass 2 ways, shoot and tackle with a wide range of strength, and use items collected during the match to take down your foes and, if you aren't careful, your teammates. You can dodge, and timing it perfectly gives you a speed boost. Timing your shots and tackles perfectly also gives them some extra power. This game is easy to pick up, but all these little touches make it hard to master. The game's new gear system adds to that complexity as well. Each character can buy and wear a wide variety of different gear that alters their stats. When this was first announced, I was worried. I suspected there would be some objectively best gear, and it'd remove the variety from the game, rendering most character and gear combos irrelevant. Luckily, every stat boosted with a piece of gear is countered with the stat equally decreased. The gear system is essentially just a way to contextualize stat point allocation while giving each character some cool looking costumes. Another new feature, the Hyper Strikes, also had me worried. These superpowered shots can give you a guaranteed 2 points every time a couple button presses right, and that has the opportunity to completely demolish the balance of this game, or lead to a winning strategy that primarily consists of spamming these strikes. Luckily, they're only unlocked by picking up something that rarely drops on the field, they're very hard to pull off as even a light tap from an opponent during the launch fire animation will cancel it, and the timing to get the guaranteed points is quite precise. The only issue I have with them is the long animations that accompany each one, which look cool at first, but grow old fast. Games in Battle League are super hectic, characters are knocked down constantly, it can be hard to keep track of the ball, but that's part of the fun. This game has the pure chaos of Mario Party with the constant action of Mario Kart, though it's much more skill-based than either. You pretty much have full control at all times, and with no rules, the count of valid strategies you can use is quite high. Sometimes I max out a character's strength with gear and focus on knocking down the goalie to score. Other times I max out their shooting power and try to make trick shots from across the court. You can even have speedy characters try to sneak the ball in from close range. This game has a perfect balance of chaos and control, and a perfect balance of simplicity and complexity. You can play this game with anywhere from 2 to 8 players, with any player on a team with less than 3 others being able to switch between their team's 4 characters at the press of a button. There's also an auto switch option, which changes your control of that of whatever character of yours has the ball, though I'd only recommend it if you're controlling a team by yourself. Otherwise, auto-switching leads to players handling control of the ball for stretches of time that are far too long. As a teammate who's not controlling those characters, things can get frustrating. The switch system mostly works, but there were a few times when the game just wouldn't switch me to the character I wanted to be. I'd mash the switch character button, and it'd swap me between the same 2, leaving the CPU to handle a key moment of the match. These moments were exceptionally rare though, it didn't really impact my overall enjoyment. Something that did impact my overall enjoyment of this game was the underwhelming single-player content. The other Mario sports games on the Switch had full story modes. They were just very short, simple, and disappointing. This game didn't even try. There were cup battles against CPUs, and that's it. In a single afternoon, I had completed all of them. This is the least a Nintendo game has had for individual players to do since the release of ARMS. And these content issues extend into just about every other part of the game as well. This game's roster may be the worst any Mario spin-off has ever seen. Not only does it come with no joke characters like Chain Chomp or fan favorites like Pauline and King Bob as seen in the other Switch Mario sports titles, this game doesn't even have Daisy at launch. It doesn't have Birdo. It doesn't have any enemies except for Bowser. It has the absolute bare minimum and nothing more. The list of courts is also bizarrely small, and all of them are frankly hard to tell apart. This game decided to let each team pick what half the court would look like, and that was not the right call. The different themes primarily affect the background elements that you never look at when you're playing the game. The actual field is always just a barren grassy area. You can select from a mere 5 different backgrounds you never look at, and regardless of your choice, you'll just spend the game looking at green. Even the list of items is super limited. There are only 6. 4 of them are projectiles. One is a minor speed boost, and the other gives you brief invincibility. Their usage doesn't change much among the projectiles, and with them making up such a large chunk of the item pool, you spend most of the game with what amounts to green shells of various ranges. Though the most bizarrely limited feature is the online system. There's the club setup, which allows you to create one group that has a ranking shared by all members for each season of play, where all the matches boil down to standard quick play matches. And then there's quick play, where you play a game with all the default rules. And I'm fine with no side modes in a standardized rule set. The core game is fun enough and the rules are balanced enough that I probably wouldn't touch much else anyway. But the real problem comes when you try to play with friends. Despite this game supporting 8-player local multiplayer, you can only pair up with one other console at a time when playing online. This choice is, to me, absolutely baffling. If I want to form a team with 3 other friends who have this game and play online together, I can't do that. That is such a massive oversight, it absolutely demolishes what should be one of this game's main appeals. And the online doesn't even work particularly well. It's almost to be expected with Nintendo titles at this point, but in the matches I played, quite a lot were plagued with nigh intolerable input delay. I've yet to go into detail about this game's aesthetic. Both Mario Strikers and Next Level games are known for their excellent animations and designs, so this game seemed like it was guaranteed to be great. And to an extent, it is. The animations are plentiful, super detailed, and full of character. The graphics look amazing for Switch, and the game runs at a practically constant 60 frames per second. But, for Mario Strikers, the aesthetic is a bit of a letdown. While the animations here are great, they don't have that same raunchiness as the original. There's nothing like Waluigi's crotch chop or Wario blowing himself up with a bomb. The character displayed here is very similar to that displayed in Luigi's Mansion 3. The aesthetic here is great, but it's not great for the Strikers series. The intense comic book style shown in the cover art, consistent with other games in the series, doesn't mesh quite as well with this entry. The soundtrack here is made up of intense, electric guitar heavy remixes of classic Mario songs, and they fit the game well. Though it's a bit of a letdown. Electric guitar is pretty much the only instrument you can make out while playing this game, so every song kinda sounds the same. They all just blend together in my mind. The music here is neat, it works, but it doesn't stand out. Ultimately, this is the best Mario sports game on Switch. The core game here is a ton of fun, but it's held back by an obscenely small amount of content and a distinct lack of the Mario Strikers charm. Maybe in a year, this game will feel finished, but releasing it in this state should have never been acceptable, at least with a $60 price tag. The online is frustratingly limited, and the single player barely exists. This makes for a great local multiplayer title, but even then with so few characters, courts, and items, it'll probably still get old pretty fast. This game would be worth it on sale, but knowing Nintendo, it'll probably never be at a price low enough to justify the purchase. This is one of the most frustrating Switch titles to me, because it is genuinely a blast to play, but even still, I just can't recommend it for so many reasons. Thank you guys for watching this video, I really appreciate it. If you liked it, I'd also really appreciate it if you liked, commented, hit the notification bell, and or subscribed. I'd also recommend you check out some of my other content like my ranking of every 3D Mario title. If you want to see additional updates about the channel, follow me on Twitter or Instagram or join my Discord server, all linked in the description below. Thank you all for watching, have a great rest of your day.